So welcome everybody to our lovely webinar this evening called Planning a Book That Actually Grows Your Business. And we like the word actually in there. We've put it in there intentionally, obviously, because it's one thing to talk about it and write a book, but if it's not the right book, it may not have the right impact.
Yep.
So here we go. So I'm Bev Ryan, and my business is called Smart Women Publish. That came about because I wrote a book by that name, and I thought, oh, that's a good name for my business too. So I'm a certified nonfiction book coach, which means that I work with authors or budding authors who've got an idea for a book and they really want to map it out and start their book carefully so that they don't waste their time writing something and have to start again when they're finished. I also produce books, so that means that I manage the editing, graphic design, production of books for self-publishing authors as well. And Linda's with me today.
Hello, everyone. I am Linda Johannesson, and I am happy to say I'm a reformed corporate marketing executive. And I've had about 30 years of experience in the field in 2 continents, in 5 countries, in 2 languages, and probably about a dozen different industries. And I have always had roles that have been focused on growth and marketing and branding and communication and creating things that did not necessarily exist before. I have most recently founded the Growth Garden, which is about 2 and a bit years old now. And the Growth Garden is a strategic branding, marketing, messaging, and growth agency that helps ambitious service businesses, mainly founded by women, and their founders to grow into their full potential. And one of the core services that we offer is a book marketing service, because it really does help these aspiring authors to write, plan, and market a book that also strategically grows their business and their profile. So that's me.
Cool.
I'd like to start off today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we are blessed to live. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people of this country, and we pay our respects to our elders, past, present, and emerging, with special recognition to the vital role that women play in striving to build us a better and more sustainable world for future generations.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bev. So welcome to Planning a Book That Actually Grows Your Business. Bev and I are really excited to have you join us today, and our hope that this webinar provides you with the next best step in your book writing journey. Today, we're going to give you some information that will help you to write the right book for the right market that gets the right results. And as professionals, we know the importance of planning in creating success. I know that I feel far more empowered once I've got a plan in place. And we want you to come away from this kind of realizing that planning is creating to a successful book, like measuring twice and cutting once is to good carpentry. So when we're done today, we hope that you will realize that planning, writing, and marketing of your book are all incredibly interconnected. And we're going to give you some clear takeaways. And the first of which is a far greater understanding of what's involved in the book creation process. And secondly, smart plan equals good planning and good writing, and good marketing gives you good results. And we hope that you leave with a greater appreciation for marketing's role in the creation of a successful book and an understanding of when it starts. And it's way earlier than you possibly think. And we're going to follow up from today with giving you your own Smart Woman's book planning and marketing success template so that you can take your personal planning to the next level. It will go through the questions and the content that we've covered here today, but give you time to think and consider and journal and brainstorm on your own planning. So the ultimate goal for today is that we hope that you have the next step in creating a workable plan for the book that's in you.
Awesome. Thank you. I accidentally clicked something and took the next slide coming up. I was just trying to keep an eye on whether there's other people coming in, but I think we're good. Okay, so I just put together a bit of a collection of some books that I have basically produced, I suppose, for clients. And the point I think is really important to make at this, if you're planning to write a book, is it's not about you, and it's not just about all you know. It's actually a book for somebody in particular. And it's really, really important, as we'll talk more about today, to identify who that person is. So I'll just use a couple of these as examples. Get my little pointer out because I can use my pointer. Where I was just randomly choosing feng shui. That's a recent book that I was able to produce. Jane is a feng shui master. Her clients, she's built a business so well that her clients now are builders and developers, and they are incorporating feng shui principles into their early designs, which is a great space for her to be. She's doing very, very well, winning lots of awards, and her book is just a really integral part of all of that. Right now, as we speak, she's entering her book into awards, which is another sort of layer on the whole marketing process, and a good reason to write a really good book, because it's great if you can add a few awards to the process. So that's Jane. Hannah is from Brisbane. Hannah closed her real estate business after 20 years, very successful real estate business, which she ran on her own in a fairly competitive market in Brisbane, in the sort of the high end. And now she's doing a coaching course, and she wants to coach women who also want to be successful within real estate or within business in general. So the book is a real combination, a bit of memoir, the keys to success in real estate, which can be applied to any business. So her book is a really, it was a really strategic choice as to how to put all these things together, so that she's got a book that will bring people to her now in her coaching business when she gets that set up. So, all of those books, I could go on for ages talking about those books. This is the one that Linda and I both worked with. Linda's still working with Carrie on Budget Right. Carrie's building a lovely business around helping people eliminate debt, I'm sorry, and improve their financial and mental well-being. And Carrie's stories is pretty amazing herself. So that was a lovely project. I did the production, and Linda's helping her market the book. Alrighty, so moving on. So there's lots of reasons to become an author, and again, a lot of what we cover today, we could spend a long time talking about these many things. So this is really just a short list, I guess, of the key reasons. I think what excites me most when I work with authors is this first one: personal and professional growth. It comes with taking your ideas, putting them into writing, putting that into a creative form, which is a book, and then all of the outgoing results that can come from that, all the ripple effects can come from producing a really good book. Self-authorship is a term that comes up. Not many people talk about that, but I love that word, because all the choices you need to make, which is a lot of what we're talking about together with Linda, the choices you need to make about what you want your business to be, who you want to be seen as, they're all choices you make that will grow you as a person. So that, to me, that's why I love what I'm doing. These things come with authorship as well, credibility and authority. Again, if you write the right book, they're great tools to be noticed and to help enhance your marketing, to generate leads in one shape or another. Great for brand building, increased visibility, and revenue generation and income streams. So again, we'll be talking a little bit more about those today. I think the next slide talks about revenue in more detail. So we'll just move on to that one. So when Linda and I were putting this presentation together, we thought it's really important at the start that we make it very clear what a book is not and what it is. So I think we'll have a quick look at what it's not, because you really have to get clear on that before you even choose to go down the path of writing a book. You don't put everything you know in one book. We all know lots of things, so it's a very strategic choice about what your content is for your book. It's not easy to write. You'll see lots of promotional or lots of ads out there. Write your book in a weekend. I've saw one recently, which was kind of ridiculous. But I was probably AI. But just keep in mind before you kind of follow down some rabbit warren that you might actually have to do a fair bit of thinking, and it's great. It's great that you put the time and effort into that. It's not going to be, I'll just write it and they will come. It doesn't happen. Marketing is so important, which is why we're here together talking about it. It's not a solo effort. It's possible to publish a book yourself, but that's not the sort of book that we're talking about. We really firmly believe you need to invest in quality support, mainly editing, graphic design, so the product looks great, and then all the other support you need around that to maximize its impact. It's not a business on its own, which is really sort of the next three, I guess, kind of tie in together. If you're thinking of writing one book and just selling your book and living off that, it's not going to happen. I'm not probably not in fiction, not in definitely not in the non-fiction books that we're talking about here. They're not businesses on their own. We're talking about a book that's part of an existing business, or a book that will help you grow a business around it. It's not a fast return on investment, because, and I think that's a great thing, because books are around for a long, long time. And it does take a while to make them happen. It takes money to produce them, but they'll be there for a long time. So if you work strategically with the product, with the book and the ideas within it, it's a long-term investment. And I think we've covered that one. It's not easy money with no marketing effort. So what it is, just quickly, it's definitely a time to learn and grow, which is what I was talking about earlier. Time to stretch into the next iteration of self and business, and Linda will be talking more about that shortly. It is a marketing investment for your business that can pay off for years to come if it's done well. And it's a process best done with skilled professionals. So all in all, it's pretty exciting. Now, I put this little diagram together about a year, 2 years ago, and it's sort of interesting that Linda's business is the Growth Garden. And when I put this together, the growth was right there in the center of this diagram. Again, this is my interpretation of writing a book with the intention of growing your business, and the growth that comes from that sits at the heart. To me, that's the heart of it all. So you will have personal growth, which I've talked about. We're going to talk more about business growth, so how your book can help grow your business, and your reader's growth has to be really at the core of all the decisions you make about what goes within your book, your intention for the book, which we'll also talk more about today. So when those three intersect, there's a beautiful space there, and everything I do sort of sits at the center of that. I love working with people who can see that's their intention to grow all of those things as they go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to build on that, a few of the ways that a book can really help you grow your business there are tremendous opportunities. It's an incredible strategic tool and a worthwhile investment in time and resources and money to help your business trajectory. And it can be the impetus for growth for your business in many areas. I've seen it a number of times where, when the founder gets to a point where it's time to write that book, that it really gives them the filter to look at their business in a whole new light and a whole new ways. And a few of the ways that a book can help you grow your business, grow your revenue, grow your impact, grow your visibility are through book sales and spin-off sales. Whether you are creating accompanying workbooks or courses or certifications or frameworks or memberships, those are all incredible revenue generating opportunities. The content, it can be a content resource for helping you to populate your social channels and keep you front and center with your audience. A book is a great way for you to get media, podcast, blogger attention, interviews, and visibility. It's a great opener to expose yourself to different audiences. It's a powerful networking tool and door opener. It increases your credibility, it gives you validation, and it gives you opportunities where people are getting to know you just through your book without having to interact with you on a one-on-one basis. It can land you speaking gigs, paid or otherwise. It can become your signature keynote speaking tool. So it can definitely be that thought leadership, that thing that you are known for. You can use it in your lead generation. It can help you to develop new products and services that you may not have had before. It could even be that thing that attracts the right people to your team and keeps them there, because people want to be with people who are winners and who are making a difference and who have a clear impact. And it can be one of those tools to help you rationalize your increasing of your own service fees, that your book makes a difference and it's getting attention, and it may just be the validation and the feedback that you need to kind of say, yeah, I know what I'm doing here, and my prices need to go up. And it can certainly help to enhance your company's brand. So all in all, yeah, it's a really good, sound strategic growth tool for your business. When we're looking at creating a book that actually helps you to grow your business, we really have to look at your business goals. Many of us are business owners and we've got lots of goals. So when you're writing a book, I invite you to get clear on what your business goals are. It's a great time to stop and reflect and look at your business, because we get so caught up in the busyness of our businesses that we rarely take that time to stop, look, dream, brainstorm into the future. And this is a good time to stop and reflect. And the truth is, you can't really write a book that actually helps grow your business if you don't know what that growth actually looks like. And this is a step to help you get really clear on that. So we encourage you to get clear on what growth looks like for you and your business first. Now, what does it mean? Are you going to be doing more of the same, or is your business going to shift in its focus? How do you want the world to see you in 1 to 5 years from now? What are your business goals in expansion, in geographies, in services? Who do you want to work with? Who are the key clients you want to be dealing with? Who are the team members that you want as part of your team? Who are the alliance partners that you want to create relationships with? And then consider how your book can help with that. Because how a book helps you fit in with accomplishing these goals, where and how it can enable the growth, is part of the magic of creating a book. And where we have the strategic intersections between your book goals and your business growth goals, that's really where the magic happens. Ask yourself, is it going to be that client door opener? Is it going to get you more media coverage and visibility? Is it going to be one of those tools that gets you on the speaking circuit? Or is it just going to be a gift that you give a new client? We can all use the books that we create for our business in different ways, but it's important to give a little bit of thought to that from the very beginning. So consider the must-haves that have to be included in your book in order for you to leverage it and effectively accomplish your growth plan. So ask yourself, where else might this book help me and my business to grow and impact? And when you have your business goals knotted out, then you can look specifically at your book writing goals. And getting at your book writing goals is really defining what it is you want to do with this book. Why are you writing this book? For yourself? What is it going to accomplish for you? And what's it going to accomplish for your reader? And when you get really clear on your why, your book's goals become much clearer too. Because when we set goals, we can accomplish them, we can track them, we can look at them. And one way to do that is by using SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goals that we can go back and kind of say, yeah, I did this in the time frame that I set out to do it. I did achieve this metric, and I did move the needle on something. So it's really important to have those goals, because goals are such an important part of the planning process. And that's what this discussion is about today. It's really about planning that book. And goals also help you to define, measure, and celebrate your own success. They can be used to drive your book's content, and they can be the filters that you need to decide what gets included in your book and what does not. For example, if you write a book to generate speaking engagements, your marketing and your content will look one way. If you want your book to replace your annual income, even though we know that that's not possible for most books, it will have a very different approach to the marketing and the content that is within it. So once you know your goals and get clear on the what of your plan, you can then get clearer on your how. And to get you thinking more about the why, I'm going to turn things back over to Beth.
Okay, so we're going to just have a quick chat session here. So Louise, you privileged to be be that one person. Now, considering we are recording this, I will ask you if you prefer we pause the recording so that your conversation is not shared with other people. I'm happy to do that, or we can just dive right
Oh
in.
no, I'm happy to do that, and I'm sure if not, we can edit it later.
That's true. So just for the context of those that are watching this video later, our intention with this question is to really just to ask you to start thinking about what's driving you to write this book. And it will be probably a mixture of internal goals. Like, I just want to be an author. I've always dreamt of having a book with my name on it, or selling my book online, or seeing my book in a bookstore. That's a very, very legitimate reason to write a book. Your other goals may be to external, like growing your business or helping other people, whatever. So, Louise, if you sort of honour us with a conversation around this, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, sure. Look, for me, it's all of those things. My business is working with women to enhance their impact in the workplace, and there are a lot of strategies in those conversations that I have around the workshops that I run that I think could go to a much broader audience, and could be available to all sorts of people through a book. It just sort of makes sense. I also see that I understand that when you have the book, that all of a sudden you're an expert. It's a very strange phenomena, but there you go. So that's something else that drives me to produce that book, so that expert title goes along with everything else. So I think you're right. There's a myriad reasons that you want to do it. And yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you certainly touched on, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And a book is a wonderful way to have people create that relationship with you, to get to know how you think, to kind of go, yeah, that's exactly how I think about that, or to, be enamored or establish that trust to be able to say, yes, she knows what she's talking about. Yes, she's looked objectively at this side and that side, and it can be out there planting seeds that you don't even know about with people that you could become your prospects or your clients. And it's a great tool for doing that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think in the process of making those decisions about what's going to go within the book, you'll get people get so much clarity about their business as well. It's just all such an integral conversation.
Because it's such a reflective process. And that's where, I said this earlier, that as business owners, we are so caught up in the doing, and the time for planning and reflection and evolving doesn't come often. So when we have these opportunities like this to kind of just decide what's going to be in the book and what you want to do with it, you can look holistically at the book and your business and the impact that you want to make in the world. And it's a wonderful opportunity to gain that insight.
Definitely. Okay. I'll just mute you for a short time, Louise, but we'll be back. Okay.
So key foundations in your book plan.
I think this one might be mine.
It is yours, yes.
I'll just get myself organized here. There we go. It's mine. Okay. All right. So if I was to work with you as a book coach, this really is a summary of the process that I would take you through. The work that I do is based on an author accelerator book blueprint, which is part of a system that I've been certified to use. It's a very thorough system. It's very well used and proven out there in the marketplace. A lot of very successful authors have worked with the originator of the book blueprint that I'm certified to use and have done very well with their books. So just condensing that down to something for our discussion today, it's kind of the early stages, and we've mentioned some of these. Who are you writing this book for? And we'll be moving into that discussion shortly as well. So making that decision about who is this book for, And then the understanding of what are they struggling with. So this goes back to what we said right at the start. Your book is for someone, and deciding who that is your choice, and then understanding, well, what are they struggling with? What can I help them to achieve? And then from there, what is the core message of this book? And that goes back to having one point. Your book should have one point or one core message, and that it should be an overarching, very strong statement about one thing, and your book sort of sits within or sits underneath that statement. It's like somebody saying, well, if you're in an interview and somebody said, well, what's the point of your book? What's the message of your book? You need to be able to enunciate that very clearly in one or two sentences. And it's a bit of an aha moment for people who are listening. Okay, I get it. So let's talk more about that. That opens up greater conversation. And that core message is vital. A lot of people struggle with that early on because they haven't really thought about that part of the process. And that's why it's not just a process of putting things about things in a book. There has to be a point to it. And then you decide, well, what can I promise to deliver to my readers? And I guess the best example of that is if you pick up a non-fiction book or a fiction book, you turn it over and you read what's on the back cover. That's basically a promise to the reader. And sometimes it literally says, if you read this book, you will learn A, B, C, D, and then you will be able to da, da, da. It's a promise to the reader. It's something that's really important to write before you write the book, because it guides you then to make sure, and then it's a way of ensuring that you actually deliver that to the reader. After that, you can then move on to thinking, well, how am I going to structure this book? Is it going to be in sections? Is it going to be what shape? So many different options there with the structures of books. And all these things, once you start thinking about these things, you'll start to notice them in other books. And if you think it's a good thing to say at this point, if you have favorite books, pull them out and see what it is about those books that just sit really well with you. And if they work for you, then use the same structure or whatever. So once you've got the structure, then it's really obviously starting to figure out what am I going to put in the book? What's my content? And figuring out how to make that flow through the book. Where am I going to start? Where am I going to finish? That sort of thing. So that's really the essential foundations of a book plan. Once you've got to that point, you're probably ready to start writing some chapters. You might write, I think in some chapters I think are really useful to write with the nonfiction, in the nonfiction space, your introduction, which is explaining to the reader what they're going to find within the book, because that helps you figure that out. It's good to play around with an opening chapter and a closing chapter, because they're kind of like bookends. Good movies will start you at a place and they'll end you at a place, and they're always connected. Well, they should be connected. Same with the book. So once you kind of got, and that's a good way to kind of test your writing skills, find your voice, as they say. So that's really the essence of a book plan right there. Okay, so here's another chance to have a chat with Louise, if you're happy to share this one. Well, you kind of covered that, didn't you? If you can just unmute yourself, Louise, again.
Done. Well, yes, it's for women. It's for women who are struggling, not even struggling, who are wishing to advance their careers. I've spent a lot of time coaching women to understand how holding agency with their voice, their confidence, themselves, their future is the trick to positioning yourself in the workplace and enhancing the impact that you have. So it's for new starters, women returning to work, or women who are just looking to upgrade or review the strategies that they use in the workplace. So it's pretty broad.
It is, but it isn't. So obviously female, it's then people with a career focus.
Yep.
So that, you've narrowed it down.
Professional women.
Yeah. Who are aspiring to not just to sit in one place within their career. They want more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And what
it's
that
hard
more.
though. It's hard to come to that. Like I've spent ages that's what I do, and I know clearly that's what I do. And it wasn't easy to craft that language. Just even talking about women enhancing their impact, it's a really small sentence, but it did take ages for me to wrap my own head around. Well, yeah, that's what you're doing.
Mm.
It's good reflective practice.
Oh, look, just the political situation in the States right now, since Kamala is running for presidency, you've got some
Yeah.
great material there that you could be bringing into your blogs and your conversations.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of strong women. Like, there are lots of role models. I think what happens is professional women get stuck in a workplace and in work, and they're operating in organisations that have historically set up by men for men, and innate male strengths are the ones that succeed. Well, women present with a totally different skill set, and it's recognising that and showing where that advantage is, and helping women to capitalise on it, really.
And to
Yeah.
change in their own,
Yeah.
to change and balance out that interaction. And the best led companies are companies that are led by both, because there's a lot in the male management style versus the female management style, that when you've got both and you've got that comprehensive holistic view, that's where the real power is. So enabling them not only to find these jobs, but then to be enablers of change themselves. And that's the ripple effect of the impact, right?
It is actually, yeah. It can be a huge ripple effect. One woman look at what's happening in America, one woman understanding it is possible. And I think women have always understood that it's possible. I think what's the constant thread for me from the 70s even through to now, so coaching in the 70s, coaching now, the thread's always been, I have that aspiration. That's where I want to end up. What's where I want to land. I still don't see how I can play to my female strengths in a workplace that is male. So that's the conversation that I want to shape, and they're the women that I want to have that conversation with.
Right.
Well, I think there's lots of them out there and eager to hear and participate in that conversation.
Hi, Brooke, I'll just welcome you in. We're just pausing for a question, and Louise has just been sort of answering that. So it's good to have you here. So we just can't really recap, but we're covering off the value of planning a book, obviously, with your business in mind. And I think you're a business coach, is that right?
Yeah,
Am I right?
you also came highly recommended from Jessica Mudders.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice.
and Kirsty as well from Brisbane Publishing.
Kirsty Ogden, yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
So this is the second question we've posed, and we've just had Louise on to here, so she's been the person who's had to answer it. But there will be other people watching the recording of this, so we'll probably keep going shortly. But the question we were just discussing was, who do you want to write your book for? Because the premise right at the start of this presentation was that you're not writing a book about what you know, you're writing a book for someone. You're writing a specific book for somebody. Once you know who that is, then it's really important that you target, shape what you write for that person and what they are looking for in their situation. So we'll keep moving. If that's there is a question 3, so maybe you could give us some responses shortly in question 3, Brooke. That would be great. Okay, so let's keep going. So Linda.
Now, Bev was just talking about your book plan. And that gets you really clear about what it is you want to write about and the content and that. But one of the other key questions to ask yourself in planning a book that actually helps grow your business is this the right time for me to be writing this book? And so we look at the when, and timing is key, because you can be, the right person and it's the right book, but if it's written at the wrong time for you as a business owner and busy person, or it's the wrong time for your reader to get this message, then you don't have the impact that you potentially could. And the reality of writing a book especially in the nonfiction space where there's a lot of juicy content and a lot of research. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint, and it doesn't get done in isolation. As business owners, it's another thing that you have to accomplish in a very busy schedule. So we encourage you to consider the timing, because you need to be ready to commit to the process and commit to the message so that you can follow it through. Because if you start and stop, you end up in this research, writing, editing, research, writing, editing loop, because things change so quickly. And it really is an important question to ask yourself. And so when considering timing, think about, what are the goals for the book, the business? That's why we're going through this in the planning process. But also think about your business demands for the period of time that you may be writing this book, for the next 6 months or 12 months. Is this the busiest time in your business? Probably not the best time to be writing a book if it is. And think about the time that's going to be required for your writing and your research and editing and publishing and marketing, because those are all things that are required to get your book out there into the world and make its greatest impact. And think about the resources that you may need to have help you with it. If it is the right time to write it, yet you're really busy, well, where can you get help to help you do it so that you can get your book out there in a timely fashion? And ask yourself, is it the right time for your strategies and priorities as part of helping to grow your business? Is this the right time to focus on that business growth? And when you consider those questions, they do really help you to identify your timing. And we don't mean to discourage you, but we want you to ensure that you're crafting a successful book. And part of that is choosing the right timing for the book and the process of writing.
So
So
I'll just add in there quickly, Linda,
Yeah.
that in a couple of slides' time, there is a table, because I just realised there's probably a question there that people would have. Well, how long does it take? What is it going to cost? So we can bring that up in when I show the table in a couple of slides' time. So I'll just move on to your next one.
Yeah. Next one is, when we're building a plan, we also need to look at, why should I write this book? Now, if the idea came to you, there's some who believe that this is enough validation from the universe that you had this idea, you are an expert in this content, and that's enough to answer the call to write a book. And it might be enough, but we suggest you actually dig a little bit deeper into the process and answer the question, why are you the right person to deliver the message? You're going to need to address this in the future when you're marketing the book, when you're positioning yourself and you're creating your author profile. So why not give a little bit of thought to it now? And consider questions like, what makes you the right person to write this book? Get enough fodder on yourself here, because you're going to have to use this and you're going to have to show your expertise, and you're going to have to provide valid reasons why you're expert, why your opinions matter, why your frameworks work, why your suggestions are appropriate. So ask yourself, what makes your skills, expertise, experience, that combination a credible source for this? How do you find your voice? How did you find your voice? Whose voices do you want to help amplify? And where do you sit on your topic? Are there areas and stories and examples and experiences that you can bring to the table that only you have experienced? Or is there proof and credibility that you and your voice and your views can show and challenge a existing status quo? And what's your author DNA? What's your platform? Do you have a platform where you're already discussing a lot of the content that you would be writing in this book? Do you have a blog? Do you have a podcast? Do you have, when you look at the content in your socials, how much of that is there and how much of this are you known for? By getting clear on this, it really does help you to get enough validation for yourself to say, yes, I am a strong authority on this and I have a unique perspective that needs to be shared. But it also creates your author profile, which again is going to be a very important tool when you begin to market your book. And Bev, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure. Yeah, because your author profile, author platform, I know some people that we work with have come into writing a book and they're just at the start of building those things, their presence online, or whatever term you want to use for it. But it's got to be there, and it's an integral part of the whole stepping forward as an author. So the question 3, Brooke, I'll throw this one at you with no context whatsoever. Sorry. We talked earlier, I think just before you came in, about what promise will your book deliver to your reader. So, if you are thinking of writing a book, I guess one way to think about it, if you made a statement to a potential reader, if you read my book, this is what you will get from it. So at this point, is that something you could respond to? You're just on mute at the moment, so you just would have to, there we go. Yeah.
So can you ask the question slightly differently? If I was asked why me, is that what you mean? Or
I guess that's what Linda was just covering. This question is it is referring to something that I talked about earlier. So this is like what would you put on the back cover of your book, keeping in mind, assuming now that you have an idea in your mind for a book, what would you put on the back cover that would entice somebody to read this book? So that's really what our promise to the reader is. That's usually where we find it.
What would I put on? Okay. I would put something about the fact that most women start businesses for negative reasons. They don't necessarily have a business background, and they often bring their negative experiences into business, such as being bullied in the workplace, being unable to find a job commensurate with your skills and experience, having, a work life that's completely incompatible to complex health conditions, young children, aging parents. And I guess the fact that, my story from that perspective is very, very ordinary. I've never climbed Mount Everest. I'm way too lazy. But, I have started a business and run a business for 16 years now. And, gone through all the chaos that entails, including 2 young kids under 2, and, having come out of a job that was horrible, where I was kind of bullied out of the work, bullied out of the job. So, I think, I don't know whether that's going to sell anything, but I think the relatability, the ordinariness of the story, and hopefully the reassurance that, you're not alone. In fact, this is the most common reason women start businesses.
Yeah, so it'd be something like, if you read my book, this is what you would learn. So then, so that's kind of your backstory. So what would you hope they learn by reading your book?
I would hope that they would learn that there is no perfect future, and postponing what you really want until this fantasy future emerges is a fool's errand, and that life is lived now, and that you can get what you want. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can work for love and money. You can, have a great profitable business that's also highly creative and highly meaningful. And I will show you how. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's as simple as that. So your book then would show them how. Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with a lot of storytelling, to kind of highlight the key messages that I'd like communicated.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're all sitting here nodding.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the focus on the dream, the focus on the future, the focus on the positive is definitely what we do everything based on our emotions, and painting that picture for people to be able to kind of say, this is possible, and I'm going to take you there. I'm going to be your tour guide. And that is compelling, and that's what will sell the book versus the giving them all the details of what everybody starts this way. Yeah. But
awesome.
the power is really in the making the most of it and doing it your way.
Yeah, I think the power of it is in the psychology of being a business owner. It's not the tactics, it's not the information. We've got all the information for free on the internet. True. It's actually you stopping yourself and all of the baggage that we bring as complicated humans into our businesses.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. And the backstory, it's kind of got to be there early on within the book, I think, so that somebody starts to read it and think, oh my God, yep, she's been there too, she gets me. And then you take them up from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. I love that she gets me moment in his book. It really
I think
is. Yes. Yeah, I could write that next sentence.
I think every book we love, that's probably what's happened right in that first section. Either the introduction or chapter 1 is like, oh my God, that's me. Yeah. And then you hook the users right in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got to keep moving and looking at the time. So this is it's a quick condensation of what's happening out there in the publishing world. So we'll get my point. I think it's still there. A lot of people still have the dream of finding a traditional publishing deal. They do happen. They're just really, really difficult to find. To be traditionally published, obviously you've just got to have a really great idea, and you've got to market your idea and market yourself. So that's why you pitch your idea, you pitch it with a book proposal, which is your outline of your book. And I'm talking about nonfiction here. You need to plan the book, which is what we've talked about earlier. You need to write a book proposal and then pitch that to the agent. So book proposal is like a business proposal. Basically, you're saying, look, let's go into business together. I'll supply the product. You produce the product. We'll sell it together. That's really what it's about. It takes a long time. You've got no control of how long it can take. With nonfiction, you don't have to have written the book first. You just have to have the book proposal. So you can either just sit and wait, or you can work on the draft or whatever. If you get a contract, it's very slow production time. They make all the decisions. You might end up with a cover and a title that you hate. I've talked to authors in that situation. And you'll get some marketing support. And I think that's the one thing that people assume that will be there. There'll be distribution and marketing support, and they won't have to do anything. That's not the case. You'll get a percentage of sales. So in summary, it's competitive, it's free, but it's slow, and you still have to know how to market your own book. So the two things there, you need to plan your book and you need to market your book, are common to all of these types. So I'll just go through self-publishing, and that's the space I work in. I help people self-publish their books. Again, we start with a plan your book, plan your strategy, which is what we're talking about tonight. Then you just go straight into writing your book. Then you make sure your book is professionally produced. So pay for quality editing, pay for good design. Then your book can go up for sale online, into bookstores. Recently sat in on a book selling conversation. Best place to sell your books is locally, turns out, particularly with Booktopia going down the gurgler. Booktopia used to send books to shops as well. They were not just online, they were a book distributor. So then you market your book. And like we're talking about tonight, that marketing needs to start up here. Then it's all about you taking responsibility for using your book in whatever shape or form that you can to grow your business, alliances, partnerships, all the good things. So again, that's the space that Linda works in. The beauty of all of that, you retain 100% of profits. You own all your own assets. The summary then is you pay for the services, but you've got total control, and you must market your own book. Again, in the middle of that, there's sort of a hybrid. It's a mixture of both. and if you produce hybrid publishers, you'll find lots of them will come up. There's some dodgy ones, there's some good ones. It's really hard to find both. Or sorry, it's hard to find which is which. That's what I meant. It's always a good idea to Google reviews of a company. So if a company starts to chase you, chances are they're not going to be the best fit. Just go and look for reviews, and you'll see probably some horror stories. Then, because what they'll do, they'll promise you that they'll market your book. I've had this conversation this week. They'll promise you they'll get your books into bookstores. They might market a little bit. They can't promise they'll get your books into bookstores. Book buyers decide whose books are in bookstores. No one can promise that a book buyer is going to buy your book, put it in their store. So you have a similar process. So if you're going hybrid, you still need to plan your book. You still need to pitch to a hybrid publisher. Chances are they'll say yes anyway, because they don't have a reason to say no, because what you're going to be doing is putting money towards the editing and the graphic design as well. What I mean by screen options, what I say, just check them out before you make a choice. Then you write your book. You probably pay for a large amount of their services. They will distribute your book in some shape or form, and they will share royalties, and they'll usually put their own publishing company emblem on the spine of the book. So it's kind of under their name. They're the publisher, you're the author. So you'll pay some money, you'll share some costs, you still have to market your book. So it doesn't matter which path you're going down, you have to plan your book properly before you start to write, and you'll have to market your book well before, when you finish. So that's, Linda and I work in those two spaces, the planning and the marketing. So, if authors come to us, they might come to us with the dream of going traditional. I could certainly help them. I could help them with those parts, but I can't guarantee they would get a deal. I work with all of those parts of the process, or between Linda and I, we cover them all. I mentioned before, just in terms of costs, if you're going down the self-publishing path, for editing, good design, if you're using somebody like me to produce the book, which means I project manage the whole thing, you'd be looking between 5,000 and 8,000 usually. In terms of timing, the book production, I usually want about 4 months for the book production. Whatever time it takes to write your book, that's totally up to you. Some people do it quickly, some do it very slowly, but that book production, just give yourself at least 4 months. In terms of all of that, Linda, you could jump in. When would you want to start talking about marketing? It'd be right up here, wouldn't it?
At the very beginning.
Up here.
Yeah, and that does take us into our next slide, which we probably should move on to. When writing a book is important, but getting it in the right hands is equally important. And that requires smart marketing. And smart marketing starts when the idea for the book starts. It's something that has to be committed to before, during, and after the book writing process. And given that this is a webinar on planning, we're just going to focus on the before and during today. But if you only take one thing away from the book marketing today, is that I hope that you realize that book marketing does not start after you write the book. It starts at the very beginning, because so many authors get caught in that trap and they just can't play catch up fast enough. There is an entire time frame that could have been used to create your platform and create interest and acknowledgement and start creating your credibility and visibility on your topic, that just doesn't get leveraged from the beginning. So in the before stages, it isn't just about big social media campaigns or launch events and ad campaigns. What is considered book marketing can come in many foundational forms, and we've talked about a lot of those today. Setting both business and book goals, planning out your book and planning to make sure that it's the right time for you, your business, and your book. Defining your whys and the why you are the author for this book. These are all foundational marketing activities in and of themselves. So getting clear on who you're writing this book for, and doing your competitive research, and even choosing your publishing and distribution options are all important parts of the marketing process. And they're to be considered right at the beginning of the process. And when you move into the writing of the book, that focus, the marketing focus then changes. Because Deb, if you can move on to the next slide. During the writing process, as you write, there are specific marketing activities that you can do. These include getting really clear on your big idea, finalizing your title, your subtitle, getting that back cover written, being very clear on your table of contents, writing your author bio. These are all marketing tools to be used in the process. And then there's the platform building, which is probably the most important part in this, whether you're traditionally publishing, using a hybrid, or self-publishing. A platform and a community and a visibility around the topic that you're speaking on is one of the most important components of your marketing process. So you've got to create a website. You need to set up your socials. You're going to be reading or building a reader and media database. You're going to be building email lists. You're going to be creating your book and author pages. You're going to need to establish yourself in certain social channels, whether it's the first time you embrace TikTok or YouTube. The more that you're doing in this platform building, the better, because the bigger your community is at launch, the more successful your launch is going to be. And then there's the marketing planning and the beloved book launch. You have to create an infrastructure that is there for your ongoing marketing and promotion efforts. You need to plan your launch event, whether it's an in-person one or an online one or both. You need to create a process for pre-orders, for bulk orders. You want to develop some contests to create some interest. You want to plan your giveaways strategically. You may need to write your book proposals if you're going the traditional route. You need to line up reviews and beta readers and testimonials. You need to create a media kit so that you can approach micro and major media outreach. You're going to need to build a profile and so much more. There's so much that comes at the before writing stage and during writing stage that is considered marketing, and your writing and your marketing needs to work together, because they actually are a good check and balance against each other. And you can find that if you're thinking a marketing strategy of doing this, it's like, oh, well, I haven't included this content in my, I need to add content in that will support that, and vice versa. So they're really important to do together. And there's so much that comes after the book is launched and after the writing phase is done, but that would be a whole other webinar. But I hope you understand that there's so much that can be done from the get-go in marketing and planning that out and having time work for you rather than against, because it takes a long time to build a following. And pulling this all together, thank you for changing slide, Bev. It really is, it's a lot to take in. And we know that we've covered a lot today. And we've talked about a plan that includes goal setting. It touches on defining your what and your who and the where and the when and the why you. And these are all important questions to ask and answer as you are writing your book. We've highlighted what needs to be included in your marketing planning. And we really hope that this gives you a much richer understanding in what's involved in creating a book that actually grows your business and that is actually a commercial success, because you're busy business people who have the choice of where to spend your time, and writing a book needs to be able to help you rationalize that choice in time, and needs to be a strategic tool that will help to grow your business or your visibility or your profile or your own understanding of your area of expertise. So to summarize, in order to plan a book that actually grows your business, we believe you've got to embrace the planning process. And like I said at the top, that planning is to success in writing a book, like the measuring twice is cutting once is to carpentry, because it's just, you can think through the process and you can challenge yourself in different areas, but the planning is important. Respect the role that marketing plays in your book's success, and really create a compelling future vision for you and your business, and then look at what your book's role is in creating that. We believe that you should sure and clearly define your book goals, your business goals, and your content goals as a result of looking at this process, and that you should have a comprehensive marketing plan that works with you to accomplish those goals, and that you create a really crystal clear reader profile, because as Bev said, you are writing a book for someone, and the more you understand that someone, the better your book will be. And we just urge you to do that and write the best damn book possible, and that will help you to create a book that actually helps you to grow your business.
So in summary, we're drawing it all together. It's never too early to start. Book, that's in terms of book marketing. That's why we started working together with book marketing, book planning, integrating them together. It's marketing is your responsibility. Even if some company promises they will help you market or they will market for you, they will still expect you to stand up and be out front and be the author, capable of going online, capable of being interviewed, capable of spreading the word about your book. Marketing's better done with experts. I think all parts of these are better done with experts, because people have, they know they've got shortcuts to do things, and they've got contacts in the right places. And as we said earlier, it's a long-term commitment. A book can be around and do some great work for you out there in the world for years and years and years. And I think if you look at the investment of time and money into a marketing tool that will just elevate your own brand, and you elevate your personal brand, your business brand, and do a lot of work for you without you having to go out there and say the same thing 10,000 times, you've got a book. So we've put together some tools. So I'll just go on to the next slide so we can kind of talk you through that. You'll get an email from us in the next couple of days, and there'll be in that email a link to this recording. There'll be a link to a planning template, which is set out in Google, and I'll just open that in a moment. I'll get rid of my pointer.
And this planning template will walk you through a lot of the questions and a lot of the overview of content that we covered here today, but will give you an opportunity to get started on answering your own questions with this, in building your author profile, in creating notes on who your reader is, and really taking you through the steps that are necessary to create a workable plan for you and your book moving forward.
So I've got it open in another window. I'll just move it across. So this is the Google document that you'll receive that you'll get this link in your email, and it's an individual document for each person. So those if you respond in that Google document, the only people that can see it will be Linda and myself. A lot of questions in there. It's a very thorough document, actually. Linda and I have got a session tomorrow with a client who has just submitted her responses to all of these questions. There's many. So tomorrow we are having our session with her. So I'll just close that down.
And she's already commented that the questions and going through this has led her to so many ahas and created some much further clarity for her just by going through that. And we haven't even got to the stage of like challenging her and adding our thoughts and ideas on top of hers. So it really is a wonderful evolution and process.
So I guess the add-on to what we're doing today obviously is that follow-up call session with Linda and myself. So the video is in the email, the template's in the email. That's totally yours to use, do with whatever. And if you then choose to come back to us and book a session with us, that's a quick summary of what that would look like, what that would cost. We're calling it a strategy session because it's really, that's what it is. You've got the benefit of my book brain and Linda's marketing brain, and you would have answered all of those questions and have a lot more clarity yourself. So in that session, it's $398 for 2 hours with us for guests who are on the webinar, who are watching this webinar. We've just put a bit of a time frame on there because, if you're in business, that's a good idea. So 6 weeks from now, if you book within 6 weeks of this webinar, it's at that price. Actually, I'm just doing a pricing program with my mentor who said, that's crazy. You should be charging $1,000 for that. So that was good to learn. Anyway, so planning template. So in that strategy session, there'll be the planning template. There'll be 2 hours with us. There'll be a written review and notes following up. So that's really, and that'll all be in the email. So that's what we're talking about. So just to finish off, if you've got any questions, please just unmute yourself and we'll answer them.
No, I've got a lot of work to do.
Well,
I'm really looking forward to the template.
Yes.
I've put a lot of thought into it already, and I'm sure it won't be too onerous to pull that together, but it's really going to take some quite reflective time. And I look forward to spending some time with both of you, because this is my next move. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. I think that, I mean, our intention is to obviously, be as helpful as possible. And I think that 2 hours is just something that's really attainable for people, and it's just going to be so helpful. So that's our intention anyway.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Can I just apologise again? I was on another Zoom call and I'm like,
That's quite all right.
it's up already. So yeah, I've been looking forward to this ever since I registered. And especially after Jessica and Kirsty endorsed you so thoroughly.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, I'm just going to stop the recording.